Thank you all. I would like to call to order the regular city council meeting of June 4th, 2024 at exactly 6 p.m.
Okay.
Mr. Vice Mayor. Technically difficult. All good?
Testing.
On what?
Yeah, you're connected.
Okay, 6:01 p.m. Madam Clerk, may we please have a roll call?
Councilman Werner.
Here.
Councilman Martinez.
Present.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Present.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Present.
Mayor O'Connor.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please, if you're able, stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seated. Do we have any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I have one. There is an issue, an error in the financials, and I'd like to remove them from the agenda for this meeting, and we'll be back in the July meeting.
I need a motion. To strike the financial imagery from the minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt the agenda of June 4th, 2024 with the said deletion or strike of the minutes for the financial report from April.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call. Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Public comments.
Excuse me, Mayor, could you have a motion to approve the agenda?
May I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended, please?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Counselor.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call. Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes, please.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to public comments and requests. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to speak. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card should have been completed and returned to the city clerk. When you are called, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. All public comments will be noted and may receive a response if necessary. Any follow-up will be handled by staff at a later time. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, Mayor, we have a comment from Mr. J. Estes. Please step to the podium. You have
Mr.
3 minutes.
Estes, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Jay Estes. My address is confidential. I live in Crestwood in Westlake. I understand he's a retired police officer.
Okay, I'm okay with it. If everybody else is. I think that's great. And thank you for your service.
On May 20th, I sent an email to you, Mayor, to the city manager, and to Councilman Warner regarding, attached to that was a video that I took of an iguana in my backyard. If you're not aware, iguanas are invasive species. They will cause a lot of damage, infrastructure. They have no natural predator. I don't know how that one arrived, that showed up in my backyard. It may have just arrived with the vendors or the lawn care people, who knows?
Right.
It may have been put here this way, I don't know. But the fact is, we have one, we have more than one. And if you've ever done any research on iguanas, Florida City spent 1.8 million in emergency repairs because they will burrow underground. They will cause sidewalks to collapse. They will destroy infrastructure, electrical, I mean, they will take anything out that's in its way. If there's one here, chances are there's.
Sure.
nothing. I just think it's an issue that if it's not addressed early, will create a major problem.
I agree with you.
I'm not a fan of them myself. Green iguanas, which is what I saw, a baby, a female will lay up to 80 eggs at a time. That's how they go from a few here and there to becoming a major issue. They will grow 4 to 6 feet in length, sometimes bigger. The last thing you want to do is come out of your house and see your sidewalk full of iguanas. Their poop, for lack of a better term, can cause salmonella poisoning. It's in addition to the smell, which is really bad. Speak to anybody in Boca Raton in the city, they'll tell you how
Sure.
the problem's been there, but it's everywhere.
When
That's
it
all.
gets too cold, it'll rain iguanas.
Well,
They'll
they're
just
starting
drop out of
to,
the sky, out of the trees when it gets too cold.
although they're starting to adapt,
Really?
yes.
I know I recall your email. I know I forwarded it to staff. I don't know where it is, but we'll get back to you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
comment. No,
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
That is all the comments we have, Mayor.
We have some presentations and proclamations. I see Commissioner Baxter is here. Let's start with her presentation. Commissioner Baxter, welcome to Westlake.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know if this is working or not, but I will specify not my presentation. It is my honor to be able to say it is staff's presentation with roads, legislative updates that I wanted to share with everyone. We're making our rounds. I want to keep cities informed of what's going on and make sure you're aware also that we are trying to hold, and I'm sure staff will be reaching out, a gathering of all 39 municipalities in the county to discuss mobility fees from the legislation that is currently out there and to see how everyone can work together, see if there's some common things we can agree on
Sure.
moving forward. And I think the idea is to have it at the convention center, so it'll be publicly noticed so that, you know, everyone can speak freely. Just putting that on your radar, but I would love, Mr. Rick, if you would like to.
Do we have an idea on when we're targeting that?
I was hoping sometime this summer. I haven't actually heard any tentative dates.
Sure.
So I want to make sure that it's on your radar as well. And I think they'll probably try to get a few dates and see what works for the most amount of people.
Fantastic.
Summer's tough, I know, because of everyone's on vacation.
Well, I thank you for being here. I thank staff for being here.
Of course. Did you want to say? Okay. Legislative update first.
Let's rock and roll. Let's do it.
Let's do this. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, Council. I'm Ed Chase. I'm the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs for Palm Beach County. We just want to talk to you a little bit today about the legislative session that ended just recently. I'll talk a little bit about budget, and then Casey Denny, the county's legislative director, will talk to you about some policy issues that the county is dealing with and that some municipalities may be dealing with as well. The state legislature has one job during the legislative session by constitution, and that is to create a balanced budget. And they did that. This year's budget was $117.5 billion. That's up about $500 million from last year. When you look at the budget as a whole, health and human services is 41% of the budget. Education is 26% of the budget. Together, those two things, that's 2/3 of the state budget. That's an enormous amount of money. When we're talking about health and human services, the biggest chunk of that goes to Medicaid, the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, Children's Medical Services, the CHIP program, community mental health services. It's an enormous amount of money that comes back to municipalities and counties. In public schools, the K through 12 program is just a little over $30 billion coming back to Palm Beach County. We, of course, match part of that with our local taxes. Florida colleges is about $2.5 billion, and the state university system is just under $7 billion. So some highlights Looking at the statewide budget this year, looking at transportation and economic development, the Florida Job Growth Grant Fund was fully funded at $75 million. Visit Florida was fully funded at $80 million, and both the SHIP and SAIL funds, which is the state affordable housing program, were fully funded again this year. The Department of State for their cultural and museum grants was funded well, but we've seen over the past couple of years that in years past, the state would give a chunk of money to the Department of State to give out to cultural grants, and then they would have already ranked those, and depending on how much money they get, they would go through that ranking system. Funding for that has kind of changed over the past couple of years. The money given for that ranking system has lessened, but the money for member projects has increased. So it's a little less needs-based, and now it's a little more member-oriented. You can see some good and bad either way with that. For environmental protection, it was very well funded this year. Water projects, member water projects were just a little over $400 million statewide. FERDAP grants, which are local grants for parks and recreation, were funded at about $15 million. And Palm Beach County, separate from municipalities, Palm Beach County received about $2 million of that. One of the biggest items to come forth from the state natural services budget was $100 million for the C-51 reservoir, not too far from here. So over the past 3 years now, that reservoir has been funded at $283 million. Palm Beach County, some of the items in Palm Beach County we've received, we were able to get a $2 million appropriation for the beginning of the reconstruction of County Road 880. As you look out at 20 Mile Bend, State Road 80 goes to the right, County Road 880 goes to the left. That has been historically an agriculturally based road. If you've ever driven on that, I promise you, you will remember it because your head would have hit the ceiling of your car at least 7 times. So that's your car. Imagine trying to drive a truck filled with sugarcane or vegetables. It just can't be done. When they drive those trucks, they can't fill them all the way. It's not appropriate. It's not a good use of their funds. The agriculture community came to the county and said, look, we need to get this done. This is a economic development driver in the Glades. We need to get this done. They came to us. Thank you. Commissioner Baxter grabbed the bull by the horns on that and put together a core team from our agriculture community, the Florida Fruit and Vegetable Association, Florida Crystals, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, the sheriff. We were able to, I don't want to say annoy our legislators enough, but we were able to annoy our legislators enough and leadership in the House and Senate to get a $2 million appropriation. For an appropriation to come in year one of a request is astounding, and it's because of the group that the commissioner put together. Aside from that appropriation, Casey Denny, our legislative director for the county, also created a policy issue for County Road 880. So we added into statute that the state DOT can direct funding to farm to market roads. And we listed a couple of area farm to market roads. Obviously, County Road 880 is one of them, but there's another one in Central Florida and another one in the Panhandle. So now in statute, Florida Department of Transportation will be able to use recurring money to funnel extra funds to roads just like County Road 880. So we kind of used a two-headed snake to get that done. Other appropriations in Palm Beach County, we got money for the Peanut Island Historic Coast Guard Restoration. We got money for the Green Cave Phase 2 in Boynton Beach, Palm Beach County Restore Reentry Program, Sago Palm Facility in Pahokee. That's as people are leaving incarceration, they get wraparound services to make sure that they return as tax-paying citizens in the community. We were able to get $385,000 for Palm Beach County Fire Rescue for a water rescue vessel, particularly for the Glades and for the water catchment areas. It's not a deep water vessel. It's not an airboat. It's kind of a right in between, so they can go in a little bit into the lake if they need to, or around the root canals as well. And finally, we had some money for the Westlake CRA Enhanced Street Lighting and Safety Initiative for $250,000. Many municipalities have also received appropriations. The governor has yet to receive the budget. When he does, he will very likely immediately turn that over. His vetoes have already been made. We don't know what they are yet. But once he gets that budget, he will immediately have a press conference and announce those budget vetoes. We have done, just like all the municipalities who have received appropriations, we've done our work with the governor's office to try to implore them not to veto our appropriations. Commissioner Baxter made a special trip to Tallahassee to work with the governor's office on that. So when we see that, that press conference from the governor coming, we'll certainly let you know so we can keep an eye out for that. And I will turn it over to Casey Dunning to talk about some policy issues.
Thanks, Ed.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Thanks for having us today. My name is Casey Denny. I'm the Legislative Affairs Director for Palm Beach County. A couple of policy highlights from this past session. First, everybody's favorite bill, the annual tax package. This bill is supposed to provide about $500 million in relief to Florida's citizens and their business owners. Everybody's favorite sales tax holidays are back, including a back-to-school sales tax holiday, which will be July 29th through August 11th. There's 2 disaster preparedness sales tax holidays for exemptions on items that get you ready for hurricane season. We're in the midst of one right now that runs from June 1st to the 14th. And then another one, which is August 24th to September 6th, a little later on in the season. There's a Freedom Month sales tax holiday. This includes a sales tax exemption on recreational items, event tickets, those types of things. That'll be running the entire month of July. And then there's a tool time sales tax holiday for exemptions on specialized tools for certain trades. There's a temporary tax credit for corporations that employ individuals with disabilities and property insurance, a hot topic for many people. The legislature decided to give 1 year of relief from residential insurance premium taxes and flood insurance premium taxes. So a little bit of extra change in your pocket as a homeowner. A few highlights of legislation that's been impacting local governments from this last session. The first you may have already heard about is House Bill 1365, unauthorized public sleeping and camping. This is the legislation that says cities and counties in the state of Florida have to solve the homelessness issue. They can't allow individuals to sleep on their own public property overnight unless they're permitted to do so at like a park where you're actually allowed to do that, in a specified campground, that sort of thing. So that begins October 1st, that prohibition, and then January 25th is when that civil cause of action actually triggers, and a resident or business owner or the Florida Attorney General can actually bring a civil cause of action against the local government for allowing this to require them to enforce that law. There's been several discussions locally in our community. I know our Palm Beach County Community Services Department is the continuum of care in this area. So they've been holding several meetings with local law enforcement, municipalities, and our providers locally to determine maybe a path forward or some really good practices that we need to be implementing to be in compliance with this bill. Ultimately, the Board of County Commissioners is going to decide how best the county will comply, and you all will have to decide how you do that in your individual community as well. Legislation referenced by Commissioner Baxter a little bit earlier, the mobility fee legislation does a couple of things. There are some communities that have a mobility fee versus an impact fee. The county has an impact fee system right now. This bill essentially requires that cities and counties that charge for transportation impacts charge a developer for those transportation impacts, enter into interlocal agreements to determine how they're going to best mitigate those impacts for each government's respective transportation facilities. So that's the conversation that Commissioner Baxter referenced. The municipalities and the county will get together to determine the pathway forward on that. And then House Bill 267 related to building regulations significantly shortens the time frame for processes and approvals relating to building permits. There's several provisions in that. Some previously established timeframes are around 120 days. And now they will be around 30 days for certain structures, 60 days for others. So would encourage you to look into that law as well. And then there were 2 pieces of legislation that actually revisited and clarified some terms from previous bills passed in 2023. The first one is Senate Bill 328 regarding affordable housing. That amended and clarified some terms in the Live Local Act passed in 2023. One of the changes was actually supported by Palm Beach County, which was to exempt airport impacted areas from the provisions of the bill. It's incumbent upon us based on Florida laws to determine compatible land use around airports. And so we wanted to make sure that we still have the ability to do that because in certain areas, residential isn't necessarily compatible around the airport. It also clarifies density entitlements for qualifying developments in certain areas that are located next to certain transportation facilities and adds another $100 million into that Hometown Heroes program that's been used so often that helps first-time homebuyers with some of those costs. And the last bill I wanted to touch upon is Senate Bill 1628 regarding local government actions. So in 2023, the legislature passed Senate Bill 170, which required cities and counties to produce a business impact estimate when they passed certain ordinances. And there were some exceptions. One of those exceptions was for comp plan amendments and land development regulations, amendments to land development regulations. This legislation actually removes those exceptions. So unless your comp plan amendments or land development regulations are initiated by a private party, you'll have to produce a business impact statement in order to make those changes. So those are a few of the bills. I believe all the ones that I've cited have already been signed into law. If there's any others that you've heard about or that you're interested in hearing about from the county perspective, we're happy to address those questions as well.
Do you have any questions or comments from the council?
None.
I just want to instruct staff, can we get all those tax holidays on the website? Push them out. It's important so that.
Thank you for having me. I wanted to address something quickly, and thank you, Casey. Thank you. They know this stuff so well, like the back of their hand, and they speak so quickly. I'm not quite sure if you caught some of it, but one of the things that I was very happy that we were able to accomplish with the county in regards to County Road 880. If you're not familiar, which some of you probably are, how it works, when you want to get dollars for a road, there has to be some sort of process, some sort of pot of dollars that already exist for you to apply to those dollars. So in addition to getting that 2 million, that's what Casey was referencing, is that there is now a process for farm to market roads in the Everglades agricultural area to be funded so that we can apply for those dollars. Anyone who's been up and down those roads know that the fruit and vegetable growers have had huge problems with having to repackage their trucks so that they don't damage produce, which is a huge problem. And so this will start with County Road 880, but it also doesn't have to stop there. It's going to help all the roads out there. So I can't say thank you enough for your support. Yes, I was up there quite a bit because this was that important. And so it was very, very big on my priority list, and also leading into roads. I want Mr. Ricks to kind of give an update on where 60th stands, especially.
Please, Mr. Ricks, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Mr. Ken. Thank you, Commissioner. So I'll give you a in terms of 60th. Before I get started, I'm the county engineer responsible for the infrastructure for the county. And we have a 5-year program. And recently I presented the draft of the program to the Board of Commissioners. We were close to $600 million. But a year ago, we only had close to $200 million over that 5 years. And through this commission and the several commissioners, they knew that really need for infrastructure. And for a period of several months, in the last 3 or 4 months, we presented a more granular plan to the need, and the board has been gracious enough to provide more funding for the road throughout the county. And so thank you, Commissioner, for supporting that. It's huge. So what I would like to talk about 60th Street, which is a major corridor east and west. This is a top priority for Commissioner Baxter. So can I do this or? Okay. All right. And so there's 3 segments that I'll talk about. Seminole Path in Whitney from 140th, segment 1, segment 2, 140th to 120th. This is segment 3, 120th to State Road 7. And you can see on the map in terms of how they're broken up. So Seminole Path Whitney 140th, we're talking about basically a 5-lane, 4-lane configuration with a center median potentially, and then you also will have a multi-use path on one side of that. That's the configuration that we're looking for in terms of a concept. And then where we're at now, not only design, we've had some conversation with Minto, with Commissioner Baxter helping us with that conversation. And what we're looking at is doing an agreement with Minto. We've got a draft agreement that we worked internally. We have sent over to Minto to take a look at that. And once we kind of work out the details, we'll send it to the board for confirmation on that, get that agreement started. Assuming that this fall that gets started, so the agreement, the design, and then construction. So we're looking at design for a year plus, maybe 26, maybe earlier, but that's what our rough timeline is. And then the construction will take 1.5 to 2 years. Estimated construction cost from our office is about $31 million. All right, second piece of this, the 140th, 120th, is still looking about a 5-lane configuration. One thing unique about that is the M canal on one side of that, with the northern side. And part of that, basically with the city of West Palm Beach, normally we have to provide a 20-foot buffer, which tightens up the right-of-way needs. We would have to take some right-of-way from some property owners. So we've worked with West Palm Beach in terms of starting having a 20-foot buffer, a guardrail, kind of like a mini wall, that reduced the need for the property taking on the southern side. And we still have enough room to actually have a 10-foot shared use path on that. And so where we're at is looking at a 5-lane configuration. We've got, we had a rough design. We need to amend that design to do the full 5-lane configuration. Still got to do some design and permitting by 2027. And then also we got to acquire the property, take 28, and then do construction about 2030. Overall cost about $23 million. Additionally, the 80-foot existing right of way, like I said earlier, because of the need of the M canal, we had to almost 100 feet. And so with barrier wall, we will stay with that 80-foot configuration. So that's huge in terms of our partnership with the city of West Palm Beach. The last segment is 120th to State Road 7. Still have a barrier wall for certain sections of it. We still have a 10-foot scheduled path on that configuration. We're looking at a 5-lane configuration. So design, we're going to start that here pretty soon, 2026, about 2 years, a year and a half. Right away is not as challenging compared to the other segments. And 2031 and 2032, they can complete about $9 million. And so we talked about the City of West Palm Beach in terms of the M Canal using the guardrail, which is huge, and then we also have a drainage issue with Indian Trail for the right of way. So I think we're got through all the critical stages of that. So looking at other projects in this area, because roads are roads. Sona Pratt, this has been a challenging project. We started this project, over a couple of years ago, $18 million. The challenging is we had some utility conflicts. We had some water line challenges with our existing water line. Also, we had AT&T. We also had cable challenges. So we're about, going to extend the contract over a year, about 33% complete on that project. Looking at what's coming up in the next couple of weeks, they've got some utility work in terms of storm drainage, excavations, some boxes, some other things. So we're looking at probably 2026, first, second quarter, finish the overall project. This is it's a critical project to keep it moving. The Rangers, our contractor, have been very working well with us in terms of keeping the project moving, despite all the challenges that we've had on this project. Let's see, yeah. Okay. The other section, now once we get that section, Summer Path to North Lake, we'll be having 2 other projects that will widen North Lake, starting from Summer Pratt. So the first section is Summer Pratt East of Hall Road. Basically, all the permits are done. We're looking to probably bid this late this fall. One of the things we're doing, because of the challenges with utilities, we're doing, besides the normal design process with utilities, we're actually doing ground penetrating radar as another way to verify what's there. What we find out is that, we have utilities that stuff is here, X mark spot, we dig up, we find out it's not there. And it becomes a contract and a lot of things. And so this is another step in our process. We started doing this on a lot of our major projects. We found out what people remember different than what's on the drawing. I'll leave it at that. So next one is called the Coconut, going to 46 lanes. We still got the permit issues, but probably 2025, we'll let that out for bid. It's about $24 million for that project. I've got my staff team representative. He's handling my entire budget for $2,000 here. And he put my traffic, the mall third is my traffic guy. And he handled 1,300 signals throughout the county, including all the school signals, including one for most of the city, and also DOT. Anything that's within our boundaries, we handle. So if you drive around and you think the signal is off right, on right, or whatever that is, send me a note, Engine Action Center. A lot of times the contractor maybe tap equipment, one of our underground like signal, whatever, or sensors, and the signal out of action, or one of our pedestrian signals. I think on Westlake, we had one of our pedestrian signals that was out of sync and was backing up all the traffic. Once we got it changed out, we were able to fix it. So we love feedback from all the citizens to help us with us. Oh, I'm sorry. More so, have all the construction projects to the design, permitting, and then the.
I'm sure, real quick, Mr. Ricks,
Yes.
I'm sure my council may have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Just had a couple points of clarification because I parsed some of that data
Yes.
as we were speaking. Estimated time of completion on Seminole Pratt project only, we're looking at second quarter 2026,
That's correct.
and that's a real target. That's what we want.
That's correct. We're
Excellent.
going to get it faster than that, but we've had delays, utility delays, and this is where we are with the contract, so.
Fantastic. Second.
I wouldn't say any faster than that, but that's where we
Hey,
are.
listen, I'll take
Yeah.
it. Point of clarification, because you said both. 60th,
Yes.
4 or 5 lanes? You said,
Well, the
at one point you
configuration-
said 4, and at one point you said 5, and there's a multimodal, I think you called it a
Multi-use path, so Seminole Pratt to 140th, a 4-lane configuration. But on traffic in the future, it can be modified for 5.
So it's 4 to be modified into 5.
Potentially in the future, but
Will
we'll,
the multi-use path be included in that 4?
yes.
And how wide is that?
Multi-use path is
10 foot? And you said on one side, which side?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions from council? From Mr. Nix?
I had a question. When does the county bring to thought about the noise pollution that the roads bring? I know a lot of residents in the city are concerned about the noise that 60th would bring. When does the county look at that aspect of the road?
That road is 5 miles an hour. Road burn. So for that type of configuration, you don't do sound barriers. And you do that on the turnpike and major interstate, but not for 35-mile configuration.
So you're saying speed limit would be 35 on 60th between Seminole Pratt and 140th?
That's correct.
Do you know offhand that, forget about the multi-use path,
Right.
but closest car to closest to home? Do we know the distance ballpark?
We don't have a design yet. We just got a basic concept. So once we get, a home design, Ralph will definitely share with you.
Yeah, I would love to know what
Yes,
that figure
yes,
is. Car to home.
yes.
Great. Any other questions?
Yeah, just to confirm, you're saying that the road design for 60th from adjacent to Westlake is going to be 35-mile-per-hour design?
Yeah, that would. It would be at a minimum a 35 mile Olson
Is it-
design for
35 to 40.
is that a DOT regulation or standard or what?
No, it's based on, county authority rules. And that's the 35 is minimum for authority.
Would it then be up to the city of Westlake to regulate or to determine the maximum speed?
It's not our road. It's county.
It's within our city.
It's our road. It's outside.
But it's,
It's not our road, Mr. Councilman.
I understand that. Waxahachie regulates their speed on Okeechobee.
Can we clarify the?
Good answer, you gotta speak to the microphone.
I actually have that question. They did look for 30, and there was a traffic control agreement that was to know why, right? And apparently there was some interlocal, the details, and I'm not an attorney, but that's why. That's what didn't have that interlocal agreement. That's sort of, we aren't turning over traffic controls essentially to
So you're saying the intergovernmental agreement keeps the regulation up to the county?
No, in
So we're saying.
In
that
Waxahachie.
When Waxahachie Road became incorporated,
Yes.
something different happened in most cases where now I guess somebody has told me, no, if we wanted. about the actual agreement.
Hey, Mo, state your name and address for the record, please. Good to see you.
More Alfred for the county. The statute gives traffic control authority from county rules to use guidance. So in your limits, you have traffic control authority, county rules. However, we have an interlocal agreement with you as we do, whereby we took that, we agreed to transfer and we agreed to pay over the traffic control authority for our major routes within your city. This is mainly here.
Seminole Pratt.
And our share agreement with Minto pursuant should in the future also be transferred to the county within that city. So we would have traffic control authority over these two roads. And 60th Street is one of them as well.
60th has already been conveyed.
Yeah, because 60th is within, it's sort of back with 148.
That's been conveyed.
Yeah.
It's yours now.
So we will have traffic control authority over that road as well. We will be, once we will determine that speed limit and traffic control decisions regarding the operation of that road.
So if I understand correctly, the state statute does provide the local jurisdiction with speed control, but through the interlocal agreement you have with Minto when, before the city incorporated, that control went back to the county.
No, actually, that agreement is with you.
So it is with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Successful kind of take over and including our routes and also on routes. Currently, I believe you have one city that's from the roads, and we are and that's a typical agreement that we have with most of that.
So at some future date, the city will be able to establish the maximum speed limit?
No, it will be us, and we have, it's not, it's not arbitrary. The statute also requires us to follow guidelines established by the DOT on how we determine the speed limits. And to do that, we have to go through a process, we have to do an engineering study that is on the 80th percentile speed of survey, 1 day survey of operation. So the idea behind it is that would be the speed at which the overwhelming majority of drivers will want they have. And the substance behind that, you don't want to arbitrarily force a speed limit much lower than that's then you will introduce huge variance in braking speeds. And research has established that when there's a huge difference between drivers' speeds, that sets up issues for more crashes.
So Seminole Pratt has a 45 mile per hour speed limit. Similar design, five lanes.
Yeah, actually, that segment of 60th.
No, he said it'll be 4 lanes.
Just a point of clarification, we're talking about 35 or 40, right? Between 35 and 40.
The design will allow for more than.
Excellent.
All right, so generally the design speeds are restricted by the width of the lanes and the horizontal alignment. So and maybe vertical lines. In this case, it's a straight shot, so it will be designed for 40 or more, but I get you that people will have that road at a little higher speeds. But my expectation is that it will be around 40. And it's not realistic to force 5 million miles per hour. It's not realistic. Nobody would listen to you. Nobody would look at that plate on the side of the road and say, oh, yeah, I would do that. Unless you have a police officer all the time, you can do it very far.
Right.
And one last question. At what point might the city council see the proposed development plans for 60th? Yes.
I have no problem sharing it as soon as we get it.
Yes.
Thank you, Mo. The mic's on. Is it possible?
Get close to it.
They just need to speak into it.
Sorry,
You
gotta get closer to the
Yeah,
mic.
speak into the mic.
First step is
Take it on.
Yep.
right now, in order, we got a draft agreement for Mento, that we're about the drugs in the grad draft, will send it to the commissioner for approval, and I have sometime this summer.
Actually, doesn't sound like it's on.
You're right.
Thank you.
And once the agreement is signed, then they'll start the formal design. And so we'll have a better timeline when we'll, the first phase of the design, about 35%. Or when they get there. Get the agreement signed and get them on board.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I have the same question, just to have a presentation again when the design is actually ready for us to see it and for our citizens to see it as well.
Okay.
Of course, I just, I want to finish up by thanking Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmen, women. Thank you for letting me come speak, take some of your time at the meeting. I'd love to share information, and if you do have any suggested speed limits, you know, you can always email me, you can always send them to me. If you feel your residents would like higher, lower, within reason, right? But just remember, once you get to 140th, you are going to enter into a residential area with homes.
Sure.
So it's not going to be exactly like Seminole Pratt's 140th, where that's not necessarily the case. And again, why it doesn't need to be 5 lanes, because you're not accommodating a turn lane, you know, for individual homes. That's the difference, the main difference.
How far down do we plan on carrying the multimodal? Is that the entire stretch of the road?
Don't stretch.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, that was something I strongly pushed for. And also, I think why we were able to switch from the berm to the wall was to allow for that sort of space. I think I know you're allowed to drive
Yeah.
golf carts,
Oh, yeah.
which should be great. But it was brought up, so you know, at my town hall about the noise. And so we can't necessarily fund, you know, huge, massive sound things. But, you know, I think trees and so on, if you're talking about 40 miles an hour.
Well, I mean, that's why that car to home figure, that number is very important. I think
To see what that
we're
sound like.
actually talking, you know, how many hundreds of feet we're actually talking about.
And I don't know off the top of my head, but what's your speed limit through Westlake?
30?
35-ish,
Well, it's 30.
30?
30.
Council set 30 throughout the entire city with the exception of Seminole Pratt, which is 45.
What he said.
And I would assume you probably don't get too many noise complaints then from the neighbors who are relatively close to it. Oh, you
A lot of
do?
complaints. A lot of complaints in general.
All right, well, I look forward to hearing or reading emails. If you have a suggestion, what you'd like to see that speed limit at, we'll definitely take it into consideration and see what we can do.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner Baxter.
Great, thank you so much.
Let's read Proclamation 2024, sponsored by Vice Mayor Langowski. Thank you, Palm Beach County. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, everyone. Juneteenth. Whereas the Emancipation Proclamation was formally issued on January 1, 1863, declaring that enslaved Africans in the Confederate States of America were to be freed. And whereas news of the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation was not immediately delivered to the most remote areas of the Confederate States of America, and whereas news of the abolition of the enslavement of Africans was not delivered to all the Confederate States until after the conclusion of the American Civil War, and whereas all of the Confederate States received news of the end of the enslavement of African people on June 19th, 1865, and whereas Juneteenth, a linguistic blend of the words June and 19th was adopted to commemorate this historical and pivotal date in American history. And whereas beginning on June 1st, 1980, several states and municipal governments in the United States have declared June 19th, Juneteenth, a legal holiday. And whereas June 19th, Juneteenth is celebrated nationally and internationally to recognize the end of the enslavement of Africans in the United States and to celebrate the culture and achievements of African Americans. And whereas today millions of Americans of all races, creeds, religious, and ethnic backgrounds celebrate Juneteenth, which not only celebrates freedom, but also acknowledges the achievements of African Americans. And as celebrations continue to spread, we call all be reminded of the oft repeated maxim, until all are free, none are free. That highlights the manner of the end of slavery in the United States. Now, therefore, I, John Paul O'Connor, Mayor of the City of Westlake, Florida, in the state of Florida, on behalf of the City of Westlake, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2024 in the City of Westlake as Juneteenth Independence Day. Thank you. All right, clap for that one. It's a big one. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. This section of the agenda consists of routine or administrative items that require final approval by the city council and may be approved in its entirety by a single motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a council member requests such, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on a future agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Approve. Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Werner. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Have before us SPR 2024-01, approval of a 4.54 acre site, a proposed retail sales and services known as Tractor Supply. City Attorney, let's swear in any witnesses and talk about any ex parte.
Yes, sir. All those individuals going to testify for this particular item, please stand and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. I do. Please proceed. Members of the city council, if you've had any ex parte communications, this would be the time to state them for the record.
I have docs.
I'm sure I have. I can't be specific, but I'm sure at some point I spoke with landowner about the potential of this applicant coming forward.
Else?
No, sir.
State your name for the record.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members. For the record, Osnia Leon, city planner for the city of Westlake. Before you is application SBR 2024-01 is named Westlake Landings Parcel F2 Tractor Supply. General location of the shops at Westlake Landings, the applicant is requesting approval of a site plan for approximately 4.5 acre retail sales and service use known as Tractor Supply. Again, this is located in parcel F2 within the Westlake Landings development. The parcel is approximately 4.54 acres. Again, parcel F2 has a future land use of downtown mixed use and a zoning district of mixed use. The applicant is requesting a site plan approval for proposed retail sales and services for store called Tractor Supply located in parcel F2. The application includes approximately 23,976 square feet of main building, The 20,055 square feet of fenced outdoor display areas, including 1,300 square feet storage shed. The applicant is also requesting a waiver from Chapter 3, Section 3, to increase the allowed fence height around the outdoor display area from 6 feet to 8 feet, only at this location. And the applicant is also opting to contribute 1% of the building's construction costs into the Arts in Public Places Acquisition Fund. Background for the site, this specific parcel F was approved, previously approved in November 2021 for it was originally approximately 14 acres of indoor-outdoor recreation facility known as Adrenaline World. This application has since been abandoned. On April 2, 2024, the City Council approved to modify parcel F into 3 sub-parcels, F1 for retail mixed use, F2 retail sales or services, and F3 for light industrial use. The proposed site plan again includes a main building of 23,957 square feet, a fenced outdoor area display of 20,000 square feet, approximately 1,300 square foot of storage shed and driveway lane for customers, 3,763 square feet of permanent sidewalk display areas located in the front of the building, and also a 3,000 square feet display area for trailer and equipment on the north side boundary. We have modified this area to only be trailer storage, not equipment for the northernmost boundary. The application meets all of the requirements of the mixed-use zoning district shown in this table. The site has one access point of Persimmon Boulevard, also provides sidewalk connectivity between the adjacent parcels in the development. So the proposed architectural elevations, staff has worked with the applicant to include more materials for the facades, more colors, and also to break the roof line. As you can see, it has some pitch elements to it. That fenced area shown also will be, is proposed to be black vinyl fencing with an opaque material to screen the materials displayed inside, and also will have landscaping outside as well. So the examples of a nearby store, we utilized this store to recommend most of the conditions that you'll be seeing in the next slide. And the preliminary landscape plans has been reviewed and is in compliance with the city code. The drainage of the site also is in compliance with the South Florida Water Management District permit. Fire safety has looked at this application, has no objections, and traffic also was addressed as part of this review. The planning and zoning and engineering departments recommend the following conditions for this application. Again, the applicant will contribute to 1% of the building construction costs on parcel F2 to the Westlake Art Acquisition Fund. Outdoor merchandise displays prohibited outside the designated display areas. Outdoor display area shall be kept orderly and clean at all times. The number 4, we're recommending a slight change for further clarification. It will read now: the storage of merchandise outside the fenced outdoor merchandise display is prohibited except in the designated display areas. 5, the obstruction of parking spaces or drive-outs is prohibited. All loading, unloading, all merchandise shall only be permitted in the designated loading areas. And we also recommended the additional conditions of approval not included, in your staff reports. 6, display area adjacent to Persimmon Boulevard West shall be limited to trailer display only. And number 7, outdoor merchandise display located on the sidewalk should be limited to bush riding mowers, garden carts, log splitters, blowers, dog houses and kennels, wheelbarrows, bag fertilizers, pine shavings, and back. This is my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and I understand the applicant also has a presentation.
Can we go, actually, I'll save my questions for the applicant. That's fine. Sure.
Aslam, can you go back to the one that's on Southern Boulevard for us to look at the pictures? So those trailers in the bottom left are going to be outside the fence?
That's exactly outside the fenced area. They're storing trailers there.
Pursuant to our code, you did mention it, golf cart parking and electric vehicle charging stations.
They are providing,
I didn't see it.
so
Three
the,
EVs.
Where are we at with that?
yes, providing three of each.
Three EVs on the site
Three
plan.
EVs.
And when you mentioned trailers, those are the trailers you're speaking of, the ones in the photo on the bottom left.
Well, you see the northernmost section, that area is about 1,300 square feet adjacent to the buffer. So that area would be a stroll.
I think trailer is a pretty vague comment. I would love staff to narrow in on what specifies a trailer, because that's a, whatever, 4x8 two-wheel low trailer. If we don't get specific here, we could end up with 6x12s and 8x10s. So I think we need to narrow down on the word trailer. I think those are acceptable in the picture. But, you know, code is code.
Right.
So if we don't specify exactly what we're talking about, we could end up with tractor trailers.
Yeah, the code does not have a definition for say for trailers, but again, the council has, the
Yeah,
option to.
let's make sure we-
Make more.
I have a follow-up to that. So trailers, that's to the east side of the fence? Going towards F1?
No. The trailers would be aligned just south of the landscape buffer, south of Persimmon, along the north side of the property.
Okay.
I want to be very specific as to what we're considering trailers. So if that's language that needs to be baked into the approval now,
Yes.
we need to do that. Trailers comes in all kinds of
Yeah.
shapes and sizes. And,
You can limit.
Mayor, if I might, you may want to address that with the applicant.
Yep.
okay,
Let the applicant respond.
great.
Can you go to the architectural elevations that you're showing, the artist renderings? The drawing on the left of the building is I don't think it's called a shed. It's called more of a canopy. Is that what that is?
There's a canopy and also a big shed as part of the site plan.
Is that the shed? Is that what?
No, that's.
The shed's behind.
And how tall is that?
It's the canopy.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like it's, is that the same height as the building?
No, let's not
It would
mix.
be better to
If
let the
you don't
applicant
know-
respond.
if you don't know the applicant.
I'm not aware of the height of that.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll wait for the applicant.
Any other questions for us, Neil?
All right.
Let's get our applicants presentation, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. For the record, Donaldson Hearing here tonight on behalf of Minto PBH LLC, who is the landowner, as well as the applicant, which is Hicks Snedeker. And we do have representatives from Hicks Snedeker who represents and is proposing to build the Tractor Supply here with us today. in the event there's any questions that I can answer. So thank you so much for having us. We really are very excited about this use and worked with the bottom one. There we go. Excuse me for that. Really excited. I think that the applicant worked very closely with Minto in terms of defining what's the best location for this particular use. And we think that this site is really, the perfect site. It's set back, it's behind 7-Eleven. It's in the back of a number of the other retail stores, but yet has some exposure and frontage from Persimmon Boulevard. So great use. And I think that the applicant has worked diligently to address the design, aesthetics, and landscaping issues, which I can tell you were probably more important to Minto and Mr. Carter and his team than even the comments that we received from the city. Substantial enhancements were made to the landscaping to ensure that it was well beyond the minimum requirements of the code. So the site is located within Westlake Landings. It's parcel F2, as you're aware, as shown on the master plan. This is what it looks like today. But the picture that's on the screen is important for context because you've got the shops at Westlake Landings that are there a little bit further to the east, and the 7-Eleven, and so this really sits behind that, and yet it has nice exposure from Persimmon as it faces the side of Publix. So Publix, you're not facing the front of Publix. So it's the site has I don't want to say some challenges, but the types of uses that go there really need to be specific to the site. And I think the Tractor Supply goes well in this particular setting. Here's the master plan. This is a graphic version of the master plan for Parcel H that was approved a few months ago by this council. Parcel F2 is there with the star. And then take particular note of a couple things that are to point out that red arrows on the plan in terms of the ingress and egress out of the site. Osno pointed out that there is an existing access point that comes into Parcel F2, but there's also cross access that goes from Parcel F1 and cross access that comes from Parcel F3 and back and forth through the site. So we very intentionally have tried to make sure that there's interconnectivity through the site. And the design of the site has also been very carefully considered as it relates to the design and the site planning for Parcel F1. So an application has been submitted, and I know that the applicant very specifically was focused on being next to Tractor Supply, with that orientation of the building, and really has placed the building on Parcel F1 to be very strategic with that, which is happening on Parcel F3. So I'll show you a highlight of what that is. The application is officially on file as a part of the public records. Osno went through the existing land use and zoning, so it is all downtown mixed use. The site is 4.54 acres, very low intensity from an overall development perspective. The FAR is a 0.012. So when you look at what you would be allowed, I think downtown mixed use allows you to go up to a 2.0, very, very low density. Physical building itself is 23,957. The outdoor display area, a little over 20,000. Sidewalk display, and then the north display area, which is where the trailers are that are in question, and perhaps we could talk about that. We meet the parking requirements. One error, I had misread one thing on the plan relative to the EV charging stations. There are 3. So we have three low-speed EV, golf cart spaces, 3 EV charging stations, and then there's also 3 large space vehicle parking spaces. So if somebody was coming in with a truck or a truck with a trailer, maybe they were purchasing something, there are some large spaces that are there. I'll also point out, and we don't do this typically everywhere, but recognizing the use of being Tractor Supply, all the parking spaces are 10 feet wide versus the city standard of 9 feet wide. And again, that was done by design, recognizing the unique nature of this particular site, which is important because it will serve the residents of the city of Westlake, but it also will be serving the surrounding region. which is important because when Westlake came to being, we were here not to only to serve the residents of this community, but the larger community and kind of drawing traffic into the site. So sales tax dollars certainly good if they're spent here in the city. And I think that this use really appeals to a much broader base than just the residents. So here's an illustrative site plan. You can see the access point off of Landings Drive, but there's interconnectivity that will go all the way to the west, to what happens on parcel F3, both on the north side of the site and on the south side of the site, and then also the southern access drive and the easternmost north-south access drive have interconnectivity to parcel F1, which we'll show you. The fenced area that was referred to is the lighter gray. There's two structures in there. There's the covered canopy area, which is basically live good plants. So that's basically where plants and ornamentals and fruit trees and things like that might be. And then the other shed building, which is for basically foraging. So foraging materials for animals. So feeds and stuff for animals is what that particular building is for. And then there lots of different equipment will be on display. As Osno pointed out, the chain link fence typically Tractor Supply does a 16-foot tall fence. Not much different than what you see at Home Depot or Lowe's. They do a taller one. Here, the code is limiting, and we're allowed to go up to 8 feet, subject to the approval of a waiver by the council. We think that that's appropriate. I think we want that here. And then the entire fence, well, it will be the black vinyl chain link fence. The entire fence will be wrapped with a opaque screen, which allows some air to go through it, but is a screen, can be removed if there's a hurricane, and then it's black. So it's black. There's a little bit of light that could come through it. You've seen those types of screens, but they're designed specifically to provide some screening from the outside. And then there's landscaping, which I'll show you some renderings of, which will give you a little bit better perspective of how that area works. So I just popped in here the site plan that was submitted for parcel F1, and it's a mixed-use shopping center building similar to what is on Westlake Landings, which is the shops at Westlake Landings. The difference is it's a totally a four-sided building, which recognizes the very unique location of the setting of this site with the roads on two sides of it. The main entry point, while it does have connectivity that goes out to the streets and will be four-sided with glass on all sides, the main access is focused from the direction from Tractor Supply. So it really is going to build off of the energy that's created from Tractor Supply, but it's also important to note it also provides some screening of that particular portion of Tractor Supply. It's a very, very attractive building, and you can see the vehicular connectivity that goes through there. You'll see this in a couple months. It is on file, but a very nice complement to what's there, and we'll provide additional landscape screening as well within that area. And that's what the site plan looks like for your use. So stay tuned. A lot of excitement there. Here's some renderings. I know we saw the 2D drawings that Osno had out, and architectural drawings are always difficult to understand in a flat view. So 3D really helps us. So the color palette was really taken to be very complementary with the color palette from Publix, as well as recognizing the color palette that Conover South is doing over at the shops at Westlake Landings with the grays. Here, not more of the beiges and cool gray or warm grays versus the cool grays, some whites, some gray shutters, and then they punctuated the front of the building. And this was a specific request of Minto with palm trees. So that provides a nice sense of scale, and that goes all the way across the front, which was a nice addition from the original submittal that was made. This is a view of the west side of the building. The west side of the building is really, relatively relatively benign. It's the side of a box articulated pursuant to your code, and then landscape with a continuous foundation buffer all the way around the side. You can see the sidewalk area and the sidewalk display area in this rendering as well. And then here's another rendering view from the front, from the parking lot, looking in. And you can see the one shade structure, and you're asking about height. You know, the height of the building is a little less than the height of the main building. So we measure height for a flat roof building at the basically at the top plate and then the top of the parapet. And then for a hip-shaped building, you measure it at the midpoint of the roof. So this would be, we lower that. And again, this would be for the live plants and things. So, I know that, lots of people like plants. So I'm hoping that the residents will enjoy the opportunity to shop for plants and ornamentals here. This is a view of the east side of the building. So it's, you can see the fence. It's an 8-foot fence. We are asking for a waiver. And we think a waiver is appropriate here. There are palms and landscaping all the way along that fence. And then it's important to note that area engages what's going to be on F1, and F1 basically provides a nice synergy of how they all come together on the street. But the energy of the shopping and of the activity and of the people is on this northeast corner of the building and on the east side. So it's important, I know, to the applicant for F1 that energy be there. And so we think that the two.
Sorry to interrupt, Don. In this photo, this is 8 feet or 16 feet?
That's 8 feet. That's 8 feet. Just 8 feet. You can see
double that.
No, we're asking for 8 feet. 16 is what they typically do.
Okay,
Your code allows
Got it.
6 feet, 8 feet with a waiver from this council.
And the landscaping would be true to size in this photo?
Yes,
It
sir.
would actually be larger than the fence?
Be very nice.
Excellent.
At the time of planting?
Time, very close to that. Yes, sir. We'll make sure that it's great.
Okay.
Pointing to Jennifer. The applicant is in agreement with the conditions of approval as amended by staff. So, no real reason to go through those again. And then there was some questions about.
Excuse me, Mayor, may I interrupt? For the record, because staff report doesn't identify. Could you state for the record who the applicant is?
The applicant is Hicks Snedeker and Jennifer Nylander with.
Those are
Hicks Snedeker.
consultants.
They're the applicant. The owner is Minto.
So that would be the applicant, the property owner.
The property owner is.
They would be agents of the property owner.
The contract purchaser is Hicks Snedeker, and the owner of the land is Minto.
So would that be a joint application or is it a separate application?
It's a joint application. Minto authorized them to submit
Okay.
an application on their behalf.
All right, thank you.
Does that mean this is a proposed lease, a land lease?
This is a purchase. This is a land sale,
Okay.
but they don't own it yet.
No, I understand the current
they
owner
close
is
it
Minto,
in a few days.
and Snedeker is the proposed owner?
Yeah, so that was Jennifer Nylander. Hicks Snedeker is the proposed owner. They're the developer builder for Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply enters into a lease with Hicks Snedeker.
Can we talk about the definition of the word trailer as provided
So-
by our code?
So the trailers, so there are two types of trailers that would be there. The open trailers that you see.
Which are sized what dimensions?
I don't have an exact, but they have to fit within inside that area, which is no deeper than 20 feet. Is that right? It's 20 feet deep. So the trailer has to be roadworthy and can't be.
Can I ask what the largest trailer you guys sell is currently? If you could come up to, I'm sorry, I'm just curious. Because our code doesn't define it, so I just.
Sure. I'm Jennifer Nylander. I'm here to represent the developer Hicks Snedeker, HSC Westlake. My address is,
Would you confirm you're sworn?
I think I already was.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, address is 805 Tryon Street, Daphne, Alabama. Okay, so Tractor Supply really, our customer, their customer is the hobby farmer and it fits well within the surrounding area of Westlake. So typically the trailers that you're going to see in the trailer display area, they're going to be 3-point hitches. They're going to be smaller, open and closed trailers. They're not the large industrial sized
20
trailers.
by at maximum. I'm trying to get.
I'm sorry, I just don't have that particular measurement.
How many wheels?
You have to fit on a road. So less than,
I know, but so does an 18-wheeler.
How many
Right.
wheels would the trailer?
Let's be honest.
4,
4 wheels.
Correct.
Maximum.
yes.
And then what, do we know offhand what our code provides for it as a trailer? Is it 4 wheels?
There's nothing in the code.
No, sir.
Nothing that
It's-
references it.
That doesn't apply.
Is that something that we can add in now as a conditional
sir, you can
approval? to be
discuss
4
conditions.
wheels?
You can discuss.
Do you guys
conditions.
ever sell any trailers that have more than 4 wheels?
Well, I'm not here to represent Tractor Supply operations, but I am here to represent the developer. Typically, as I mentioned, their trailers are going to be 3-point hitches, 4 wheels, catering to the smaller hobby farmers. I know that that's,
I get it.
yeah.
I think it would add 4 wheels as a, and I don't think that's going to ruffle any feathers, but it's also just going to protect us in.
No more than
future.
4 wheels.
Right, no more than 4 wheels.
Where are these trailers to be stored? Is this the 20 by 150 area on the other side of the parking lot?
Yes. Yes, that is correct, Mr. Warner, that it is, and it's well landscaped and Minto actually made them add additional landscaping beyond the code.
And how do you secure it in the evening?
Oh, I'm happy to answer that. Tractor Supply binds them together with chain lock, and they're all kind of bound together and then secured to the ground.
I'm also going to take this opportunity to recommend to staff that we hone in on our code and let's better define the word trailer. Because I think there's an opportunity there
So
to be more specific,
Tractor Supply does sell enclosed and livestock trailers.
which is fine. I just don't want tractor trailers, and that's a
Oh, 18-wheeler trailers,
big
like,
issue. in the
50-foot
surrounding
trailers.
area Current.
yeah, they don't sell those.
So I don't want to provide an opportunity for our code to allow for them to be parked on Westlake property. So.
So we should
Yeah,
specify only trailers for sale,
Another 4 wheels.
correct?
4 wheels, so no more than 4 wheels, I think solves this issue. But I'm going to ask staff that we redefine our code and really hone in on what we consider a trailer. It's never came across before, so we're growing here.
Well, there's a length dimension I think is more significant in this case.
Yeah.
You're talking semi-trailers that have a length of maybe 30 feet, which I don't think
They're
they're.
going to have more than 4 wheels.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes, these would need to be 20 feet or less, including the hinge that hinges onto the
My
car.
qualm is not what the applicant is doing. My qualm is with our code and how it's not specific.
Sure.
That's my qualm right.
We can tighten it up.
So, are we open for discussion?
Sure.
Question for the applicant. Why is the canopy as tall as it is? I understand you're going to have plants there. Do you expect them to be higher than 8 feet in height?
I don't believe so. The depiction, I don't believe, is extremely accurate as to the ratio to the live goods center to the top of the building. I'm not exactly sure of the height of the canopy of the garden center, but it's a typical garden center bay that you would see at any of the garden centers along.
Home Depot, Lowe's.
Yeah, Home Depot, Lowe's, correct.
Okay.
We agree to keep it below the top of the parapet. Or if it would help, we could agree to keep the peak higher than the height of the parapet of the building.
I'm more concerned with other items that you're going to be storing in your outside display area. If you have trees within landscape area. I don't see an issue with that. I'm just curious to see how tall these items are going to be. But when you get to the other storage items, what else are you gonna store in the outside display area? And how high would they end up being stacked?
Right. My understanding, and Jennifer will correct me if I'm correct. So basically, you'll have lawn and garden stuff, fencing materials, pet and livestock equipment. And then during seasonal times, miscellaneous things like some culvert pipes, drainage tiles, things for agricultural purposes, but nothing higher than the fence. Is that correct? Nothing higher than the fence. And that was a similar condition that was imposed on another project where we had outdoor storage, if you may recall, many years ago for the Westlake Commerce Center, is nothing permitted higher than the height of the fence, which would be the 8 feet.
Which is 8 feet.
Which hopefully addresses some of your concern. I think you're getting at.
Well, I have other concerns, but I'll hold off and discuss that with the council. Why is the 20 by 150 foot display area so far from the store?
You're referring to the trailer display?
Yeah.
Yes. That was where it was requested that we place it.
So you have 26,000 square feet of outside display and 23,000 square feet of building. What's going to be inside the building?
Inside a typical Tractor Supply, if you've ever visited one, they carry a wide variety of items. They carry clothing, they carry shoes. A big portion of their sales are pet feed, pet supplies. They have a pet wash inside. They carry tractor parts and various garden supplies.
Okay. Let's talk about the outside shed, which you have, I think, indicated was for animal stuff,
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
animal feed. Is that a metal shed?
Yes, it is. It's a 1,300 square foot metal shed inside the fenced outdoor display yard, and it is for the forage of animals.
Did you consider a concrete building?
You could.
You could.
Typically, our forage sheds are all pre-engineered metal buildings with metal
I
sides.
understand that.
And we would be happy to keep it in design with the main building itself.
As a metal shed, you're saying, or as a concrete
Correct.
building?
As a metal shed.
Would you consider a concrete structure instead of a metal shed?
Well, we would prefer not to.
It's a cost issue.
It's actually a design issue.
What are the issues associated with the design?
A forage shed is more of a agricultural look to it, which would go more along the lines of a metal building. But again, it's behind the screened fenced area. It will not be seen from outside that fenced area.
Okay, Mr. Herring, you, in your presentation, you made a point of saying this location is behind 7-Eleven, won't be as visible. Why is that significant?
Just because it defines, and I'll go back to that slide because I think from a planning standpoint, it makes a big difference. And it's, one of the reasons why Minto thought that this was a good use for the site. So if you look at the overall, let me try to get back to a bigger picture here. This is a really good picture. So Tractor Supply and yes, recognizing that they have things that are outdoor supply. It's in an area, it's on a secondary roadway. So it's at Simmons West. It's on the side of Publix. It's not facing Publix. It's not facing Seminole Pratt Whitney. It faces the back of the shops at Westlake Landings, and it's generally in the back there of 7-Eleven. So it just goes to show that it's an appropriate location for this type of a use. This is probably not a use that we would put right out on Seminole Pratt Whitney, yet it's a needed and desirable use to serve the community. So this is a good place to put it. So I hope that answers your question. And I know that, the applicant for parcel F1, feels that works well strategically as well, and that there's a lot of synergy there when everything comes together.
No, I understand your explanation. It just raises a concern in my mind that what might come even behind this might be of a little less desirable in terms of aesthetics.
Behind what, using like a parcel F3?
Yeah.
We don't know what that's going to be now. I think you're going to find that's a very desirable site. You have the James Business Park to the north. It would make a great site for commerce, and we don't know what that is. But I think that when you see the application that's been filed for parcel F2, you'll see that F1 is a very high level sign. So I think that they work together synergistically.
Okay, and I'm glad you mentioned F1. I was curious, I'm looking at your, I guess, future plan for those bays. What is it that you anticipate would be of interest related to tractor sale locating on F1?
It has probably nothing to do with tractor sale. It has to do with energy of people, right? The energy of activity. So I understand that the users that are in discussion, some small eateries, some medical services, been some discussion on veterinarian services, so other personal services that would be here to serve the needs of the residents. So none of which have a thing to do with Tractor Supply, but it becomes an anchor, right? It becomes an anchor for an unanchored center.
Okay, I thought there was a relationship there, but okay, I understand.
I'm gonna make a comment, and I'm gonna change the tone a bit, because I feel it needs to be. So first and foremost, and I say this all the time, right? Westlake is 6.5 square miles, and it's 6.5 square miles of paradise, right? But there's 17,000 rooftops that surround us. And the fact that this national retailer, Tractor Supply, is choosing our city to make its home just shows how uniquely located the city of Westlake happens to be, right? We're phenomenal, we're great, and we're a great city, but we're not an island, right? We're not surrounded by water. We've got these 17,000 rooftops that surround us, and so on and so forth. So for one, I just want to thank the applicants for bringing this to us, because it truly shows how great and how uniquely we are located, that they are willing to make this great investment into our city. And it's really, in my opinion, it's going to start bridging, which there truly needs to be a bridge to the surrounding area, and start bringing in all this outside traffic. And I think it's one of those first dominoes that needs to tip to really see what's going to happen in the macro. So from my opinion, I want to thank you guys for coming into the city and considering making this massive investment into the city of Westlake.
Thank you so much
No,
for
thank
saying
you.
that. We agree. It's a phenomenal location.
It's incredible.
We're proud to bring it to you. Our team worked really hard on this, and I think it's a lovely, lovely site.
I couldn't agree more with you so much. All right. Do we have any more questions for Mr. Herring?
Mr. Herring, thank you for the updated drawings, because I actually went to the city staff and said, we need more landscaping. And this came out last week, so
Good.
I'm happy for it.
You know how important landscaping is to me, so I can always promise you fantastic landscaping.
I'll agree with that. I'd like to say thank you for the landscaping, hearing, Minto, thank you for that. I wanted to ask, what's different between this Tractor Supply and the one, let's say, on Southern? Is there anything new and different and exciting as far as design in this one versus existing ones?
This is the best.
All right, then also, what is different about this new one?
So your building design here is much different than the one that you see on Southern Boulevard, which my company was not involved with. That was a retrofit. They're typically more less design oriented than this particular building is. All Tractor Supplies are quite similar in what they offer. The trailer display area, the fenced outdoor display. You're getting a lovely garden center, which was a newer initiative a year and a half ago. The pet wash, which is always very popular.
Explain that much.
The pet wash is where you will come into the store with your dog. You will pay $5 or $10 to have your dog washed. You wash the dog yourself. It's an enclosed area.
Oh, that's fun.
And then all the supplies are there for you to wash your pet and blow dry your pet. If you have a golden retriever like I do, it's a phenomenal service.
That's great. Do most have those stations?
Yes. That's a newer initiative as well.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you. I love hearing when something new and exciting comes to the city. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mayor, if I might,
Please.
if you're going to consider this application, I'd ask that you consider it in two steps. One, the initial application, site plan, and then second motion would be the waiver.
The
And
waiver
also-
would include.
For the fence.
From
the
6 feet to
fence.
8 feet.
Can we also define,
Well, that's
The wheels on the
that was going to
tractor.
be next point.
Okay.
The applicant, sir, could you ask? Do you agree
get it.
to the restrictions on the size of the trailers?
Yes, sir.
And to that extent, I've taken notes and I'll defer to staff, but they're not going to exceed 4 wheels, 3-point hitches, is that,
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
and
I don't know,
they will not exceed 20 feet in length.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Great,
That's acceptable, okay.
wonderful. So we're going to consider 3 separate motions, council?
2 separate motions.
2 separate motions.
The application itself, and then second, if that's approved, the waiver.
All right, well, I'd like to consider those.
I have another question for the applicant.
Sure.
Mr. Herring, would the applicant consider, instead of chain link, putting up around the enclosed outdoor display area, pilasters and tubular steel fencing, similar to what we see at Home Depot? What's at Home Depot?
We would prefer not to.
I understand that you would prefer not to, but would that be a deal breaker for you?
We'd prefer not to. Be happy to add some additional landscaping. Those are the things that you're looking for, but I think we'd like to keep it the way it is.
Is there a Tractor Supply on the planet that has what he just said?
In fact, most of the Tractor Supply use standard galvanized chain link, not even upgraded. For those.
Tractor Supply.
They're not a fence? I don't understand.
Well, that's what it ends up looking.
Right, so we've already baked in her staff conditions on the parking lot and having it upkept and having it clean and
Yes,
having
sir.
it nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're,
And as staff noted, I certainly appreciate the counselors'
not for
request
nothing.
and not out of.
This council is not in the business of asking Tractor Supply to look like Home Depot.
I didn't ask for that. I'm just showing
Sure,
you an
that's exactly
example
what
of
you're asking for.
what it looks like instead of chain link fence.
I get it. Asked and answered.
Yeah, you prefer not. Thank you.
Can I consider these motions, please?
I'll make a motion to approve Tractor Supply with a few amendments to the site plan, that the outside display area be enclosed with an 8-foot-high pilaster and wrought iron or tubular steel fence instead of chain link, and that the metal shed be replaced with a concrete structure or block structure.
proposed, right?
No, he's proposing. a new
The new one, yeah.
Not a second. Motion dies.
Mr. Mayor, before you entertain any additional motions, I would ask you open the public hearing.
Let's go ahead and open public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public? Madam Clerk, do we have any comments from the public?
Mayor, I received no additional public comment cards unless Ms. Nylander has something else to say.
I would just like to reiterate that we are following the code as it exists currently with regard to the fencing, and we are actually enhancing it with the black mesh screening and the landscaping.
Are there no additional comments?
I'm going to close the public hearing. Now, if there's no further discussion, I'd like to consider some of these motions.
I'll make a motion to approve SPR 2024-01.
That's
Site plan.
second.
Sir, would that be with? the
Without
con-
conditions? 'Cause
With,
we-
without, with conditions?
With conditions, but you said that had to be a separate motion.
No, sir. The
Okay.
waiver would be a separate one.
Okay. With conditions.
And the conditions
Conditions
would be
be-
those identified in the staff's report, as well as the additional condition relative to the trailers. Excuse me,
The presentation staff also recommended more conditions than the ones listed in the staff report. So just want
you
to,
want to articulate those?
Please articulate those conditions.
It was the condition on the outside displays of the mowers, et cetera, at the front of the building.
all the conditions?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
Okay. Number one, applicant should contribute 1% of the building's construction cost of parcel F2 to the city of Westlake, our acquisition fund prior to building permit issuance. Number two, outdoor merchandise display is prohibited outside the designated display areas. Number three, outdoor display areas shall be kept orderly and clean at all times. Number four, the storage of merchandise outside the fenced outdoor merchandise display is prohibited except in the designated display areas. Number five, the obstruction of parking spaces or drive-outs is prohibited. All loading, unloading of merchandise shall only be permitted in the designated loading areas. Six, display area adjacent to Persimmon Boulevard West shall be limited to trailer display only. Number seven, outdoor merchandise display located on sidewalk shall be limited to push and riding mowers, garden carts, log splitters, blowers, dog houses and kennels, wheelbarrows, bag, fertilizer, pine shavings, and bag feed. And as well as the trailer restrictions.
Dimensions and wheel.
Correct.
To the applicant, are those conditions acceptable?
The one condition relative to all of the items that he listed, we could add the word or similar, because it was like a very defined basket of these are the only things that you'll ever have outside. And
That's
obviously-
ambiguous, sir.
Pardon?
Respectfully, that's ambiguous. Similar, I'm not sure I understand that.
Which is there other things that you would want to add?
Typically, on the sidewalk display, there are, in addition to these items that have been listed, there are seasonal items. Those might be kayaks, those might be pedal boats. Those could be, well, not here, we won't have snow blowers. Those could be other seasonal items that I would like to have included. So if we could maybe work out some wording that we're all comfortable with.
I mean, if Tractor Supply decides to start selling golf carts, I'd certainly want them to be allowed to display them. Great. So how can we word it
Could we?
to be amenable
not
to both
limited
this
to?
council and staff?
Subject to the approval of the city manager.
Is that cool?
Think-
works.
Cool. All right, subject to the approval of the city manager. Thank you.
Second.
Hold on.
Short.
You ready?
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard.
Yeah, that's fine.
Roll call, Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
No, I believe it's just lowering the standard for any future uses.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
You would take up the issue of the waiver.
Let's do the waiver motion, please. May I entertain a separate motion on the waivers?
Move the request, to approve the requested waiver relative to the height of the fence.
I'm from 6 to 8 feet.
Yes, sir.
A second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes,
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Welcome to Westlake. We have before us SPR 2023-01, approval of site plan review for a bank with a drive-through for parcel C within the Westlake Plaza development.
Any individuals going to testify relative to this application, please stand and be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
And I do.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. For the record, I was in the own city planner for the city of Westlake. Before you is application SPR 2023-01, Fifth Third Bank at Westlake Plaza, parcel C. Current location of Westlake Plaza, and the applicant is requesting approval of a site plan review for a banquet drive-through for parcel C within the Westlake Plaza development. Gross site, the site is approximately 1 acre, 0.13 acres. Future land use of downtown mixed use and a zoning district of mixed use. The applicant is requesting approval of a site plan for parcel C within the Westlake Plaza. The proposed site plan for the banquet drive-through consists of 1,956 square foot building with dual drive-through lanes. And the applicant is also opting to contribute 1% into the art position fund in accordance with ordinance 2021-22. Background on the site, on November 9th, 2020, the city council approved the site plan application for the Publix grocery store phase 1 located in parcel E, resolution 2020-04. That phase has been completed. The development includes 5 parcels as shown on the PowerPoint. On January 8th, 2024, the city council approved to relocate previously approved out-parcel users and include phase 2 at Westlake Plaza, located in parcel D. Parcel C and parcel B were amended to include uses as shown on the table. The proposed site plan are located in our parcel C as it relates to the overall development and the existing Publix building. The proposed bank is fronting Seminole Pratt Whitney Road in our parcel C as shown. Again, the main building is 1,956 with dual drive-through lanes. Access to parcel C from Town Center Parkway, Personal Boulevard, and Seminole Pratt Whitney Road through a pedestrian connection between parcels, which includes decorative pavers, crosswalks. There's a sidewalk connecting multimodal pathway. Again, includes the dual drive-through lanes and bicycle racks. The subject site plan meets all of the requirements of the mixed-use zoning districts. It includes 2 spaces for electric vehicle, 1 space for golf cart parking, 188 space with a total of 15 spaces on the parcel C. These are the proposed architectural elevations. The south, which is the frontage, I believe, south exterior elevations of west. You can see the north and the east elevations. Subject site is in compliance with the landscape, with Article 7 landscape. Also complies with the drainage. Fire safety has reviewed, has no objections, as well as traffic meets all of the trips as listed into Westlake per the development order. The planning and zoning engineering recommend the following conditions. Again, the applicant should contribute 1% of the building construction costs of parcel C to the art acquisition fund. And number 2, the applicant shall submit a land development permit for parcel C prior to construction of the elements presented in this site plan. The previously approved land development plan for Publix land development permit does not include utility connection or drainage information for future parcel C. Concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
By council. Is there anything in our code that prohibits golf carts from using the drive-through?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. Great answer. Is the applicant here? Do we have something from the applicant? Thank you, Austin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Donaldson Hearing, here tonight on behalf of Public Supermarket Inc., who is the landowner, as well as the applicant, which is Fifth Third Bank. We have representatives from Third Bank and their design team here with us today. If you have any architectural questions, we're happy to answer them. I'll quickly go through. I got some more renderings, of course, I can show you to give you a little better perspective of what our plan is like. So we're looking at out parcel C, which is a part of the Publix at Westlake Plaza. And as you recall, the master plan for this was approved a few months back when we came in with the modifications for Publix Phase 2, which you had approved. So here's the context. I understand that we're pretty close with permits on the land development activity in Phase 2. I also understand that leasing in Phase 2 is exceptionally well, if not totally filled up. That's basically what we've heard, which is a great thing. A lot of people want to be here in Westlake. You can see, on the site plan and look at context, this abuts the Rural Parkway and Seminole Pratt Whitney. But you can also see that the lot of green space, the site is not being overly maximized for what's there. It leaves room for future development in the future, which is noted, I think, in the staff report. So the site itself is about an acre, and the building, as pointed out, is just under 2,000 square feet with drive-through, and that really is reflecting the changes of what we as humans do in the world of banking, giving online banking. It's just the size of our bank facilities are not nearly as large as they used to. So this is a good view. This is a few months back of a picture. I was out there earlier today, and the James Business Park is getting pretty close to being completed. Nicely landscaped, colors are very nice, really finishing out pretty well. And so you can see where this site is, all the way up on Seminole Pratt Whitney on the Rural Parkway, and the white areas, the pathways are part of the multimodal path that come from the main multimodal path along Seminole Pratt Whitney, and then into the site along the north side of this site and all the way into Publix. So by design, in keeping with the overall intent and design of Westlake. So here's the site plan a little bit more specifically. Osneal went through it. 2 points of access off of the main ring road. One-way circulation around the drive-through with an adequately sized escape lane on the outside. Pedestrian connectivity coming all the way through the site and connecting to the multimodal path out on Seminole Pratt Whitney. So come by bike, come by golf cart, lots of different ways to be able to enter and exit from the site. The master plan has the site assigned with 5,500 square feet of bank and financial services use. with drive-through. This is much less than that. It's 1,956 square feet. So there'll be unused entitlement, unassigned entitlement that will remain on this parcel. If it's a building is ever expanded or that entitlement is used, it must come back before this board for another complete review. And as I noted in the master plan approval, when it came through, you cannot move any of the entitlement off the site without the expressed approval of this council. So that could be something that Public Supermarkets chooses to do in the future. I mean, they're close to being built out, but it would require the full approval of this council. So just putting that on the record so everyone is aware of that. This is the site tabular data. Just to kind of show you, there's 1,956 square feet. Of a commercial financial institution with drive-through and an additional unused 3,544 square feet that will remain on the site by contract and by entitlement that Publix has. And so that's really our plan. We're in agreement with all of the conditions of approval. The landscaping is exceptional. It's really well. I mean, it's really filling in nicely at Publix. Great palette. We've continued that same palette in here, continuing the same flavor. Building materials are very nice. So a combination of some brick at the wainscot at the very low level, and then as you come up, there's some aluminum panels, aluminum awnings, and stucco. So a nice group of textures on and around the building. Also, you'll note, you'll probably see it more in the renderings that I show you. Here are the finishes. Again, all tie in with what's happening within the overall center. But the plate height of the glass is up at 12 feet, so it's very light and airy. Typically, on a storefront, you're going to see about a 10-foot plate height. So it's nice. It's nicely done. Nice, strong members in that storefront, which gives it a little bit nicer presence on the street. But very open, airy. Will be a great place for visitors if they're going inside the bank as well as aesthetically on the outside. Here you can see that again, a lot of attention given to the glass area around the entrance of the bank, and signage nicely done on the canopy. So we're really excited about what they've done. Of course, there's a lot more landscaping here, but if you saw the landscaping, you might not see the building. But if you looked at the landscape plan, you saw a lot of detail. Everything's very intentional. Fully in agreement with all conditions of approval. And our team is here if you would need to hear from them tonight, and just look for your approval so we can move forward and build a bank here in Westlake. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I might just real quick, who is the property owner?
The property owner is Public Supermarkets Incorporated.
All right, that's the applicant.
That is the owner. They're the ones that signed the application. Fifth Third Bank is the applicant.
Okay. Publix.
It's Publix Supermarkets Incorporated, who is the landowner of all of the Publix Center.
Thank you.
Could we back up your slide to the overhead with the landscaping and all that? It's like 6 slides ago. Keep going.
There you go, sir.
Keep going. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That one. That's it. No.
Going quicker on the screen than it was on your iPad. Yeah,
What's-
very nice.
What's that tiny bottom left of the parcel? What's that little carve out there? Next to the blue car, to the right of the blue car.
Dumpster.
That's the dumpster.
Ah.
Yeah, those are the gates that are open. So, yeah, and then there's a concrete, we like to do concrete
Yeah,
at the entrance of the dumpster area.
and it's screened in well. by
Fully
the
screened
bushes, yeah.
on three sides.
Excellent. Does any of my colleagues have any questions?
Sir, prior to your discussion, any ex parte communications?
Oh, I'm sure I spoke to somebody about the desperation of a bank, not specifically on Fifth Third, but probably, I don't know. Yes?
No.
No,
Any questions?
not glad to see a bank coming in.
I have one comment, and I'm not sure if this would be for Publix or the Fifth Third guys. You know, I love that we're in compliance with our art and public places ordinance and the 1% is going to go. But I really think it's a missed opportunity for you guys to choose your own art and bring something that can be yours. You know, and put your
Yeah.
fingerprints on the city forever, besides just the bank.
Yeah, don't disagree with you. You know, it's just, you know, it's not something that's in Publix's wheelhouse to do.
So
So
that's a
that's why
Publix
they did it. And then, you know, for Fifth Third, it's just, you're not able to create something of reason, you know, something that's worthy of Westlake, like you're going to see at the James Business Park.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
You know.
Set the standard high.
That's a comment for Tractor Supply as well.
On parcel F1, you'll see our.
See something exciting. All right, our Art and Public Places Committee is gonna be busy.
Yes, and
There's
there's
a
good
lot of money
location,
going into that account.
good location there to put it.
Okay, fair enough. Any other questions or comments?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Just as a curiosity, the material that's shown on the side, is that the EF?
EFS?
Yeah, is EFS, is that like the drive it type look?
Well,
and stuff?
yeah,
Very similar?
It is typically a drive-it. It is a drive-it or stow type of a system. It's, you know, again, it's on concrete block, and then it just is an integral color stucco that goes all the way through. Gives it a nice.
Unique texture without having to repaint and worry about it all the
Right.
time.
Yeah,
Okay.
very, very nice.
Just curious, I just was looking at it.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
sir.
He needs to earn his money today.
Are you sworn?
That's Greg Baldwin, BDG Architects.
Are you sworn?
I am sworn.
Okay.
It is limited to above the water the brick water table, and then in the customer touch areas, we have the ACM signature weight balls. So that EFS isn't getting a lot of direct contact to, so it's specified as a hardened EFS product. But in addition to that, we've taken the other two steps.
What's this little carve out at the top here?
That's transformer.
Yeah, there's transformer, and then there's a larger sweep there just for turning radii for trucks.
Great. Thank you. Welcome to Westlake. Let's open public hearing. See if we have any public comment on this agenda item only.
Mayor, I have no additional public comment cards outside of the representatives, Brett Neverill and Greg Walden.
Let's close the public hearing, and I'd love to entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of site plan review for Fifth Third Bank, number SPR 2023-01, as recommended by staff.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call. Councilman Werner.
Aye.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
New business. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome to Westlake. We have before us Resolution 2024-10, appointing one member to serve on the Art and Public Places Advisory Board, which will be very busy. City Attorney, please read by title.
Well, if you would, sir, respectfully, would you entertain a motion to make the appointment prior to the consider the resolution? Resolution would incorporate the name of the
Sure.
appointee.
Let's go ahead and make the appointment. From what I understand, only one. Do we only have one person apply?
Yeah.
Yes, Carol Baldwin.
Okay. So I need a motion.
I'll move approval.
Well, let's just, it can all be done in one motion, correct?
Sir, two motions.
Two motions. Okay.
I'll move approval of the appointment of Carol Waldman to the Art and Public Places Committee.
Second. We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call. Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Now, if we can read by title to include Ms. Waldman.
Yes, sir. Resolution by title only, resolution, City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, appointing one member to serve on the Arts and Public Places Advisory Board, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date.
We have a motion. I don't think we need a discussion.
Move approval of resolution number 2024-10 for the appointment of Carol Waldman to the Art and Public Places Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Congratulations, Ms. Walden. Welcome to what's soon to be a very busy committee. Excellent. Resolution 2024-11, approving the donation of surplus funds to a school located in the city of Westlake. And up for discussion.
This is taking
Your baby.
this is taking the funds we're able to raise from our Westlake 5K and using it to donate to the elementary school. As long as we have everyone's approval. And also with that, I'd like to get the Education Advisory Board on with that, to have them go in, speak to the principal, see what they need. I know you can't just donate cash to a school. It always becomes an issue. They can find out what they need. We can purchase it outright. Go in, donate it. We can go as a board, go as a council.
How much are we talking about again?
Okay. so
$2,014.
For an amount in a school.
So the school is going to be, I think we should let Julian pick it because this was his project.
We're going to elementary school.
Okay.
So what's the name?
Golden Groves.
I'm sorry, what's the
And,
Golden Groves Elementary School.
and the dollar amount specifically?
2014 and 2 cents.
There we go.
Can we just make a comment? Maybe for next year?
Mhm.
Seminole Ridge has this program, Seminole Ridge High School has this program where they actually build homes for Habitat for Humanity. It's incredible. They build the houses at the school in 4 sections, and then they wheel them out within like an inch of these bays, and then that actual home gets installed in like Riviera Beach or wherever they Habitat for Humanity decides to. Maybe next year, I think that would be a whole use of those funds. Just an idea.
Can we possibly consider getting feedback from the Education and Advisory Board on the use of these funds either for next year or even this year? But, you know, we have a new board and it seems logical to me that they have some input on this.
It's actually going, so his proposal is for it to actually go before the Education Advisory Board, which our next meeting is in July. And then we would have them go to the school to hear what's like, that would come back in August.
Okay, so it's going to them.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're having everyone involved.
Yeah, and again, the 5K was incredible. I heard, I
It was great.
personally wasn't able to attend, but I heard nothing but wonderful feedback, and I'm excited for next year.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
We'll run it.
I hope so.
But if we can just think about that program at Seminole Ridge, I think.
Absolutely. I want, eventually at some point, everyone in Westlake to get a piece of the pie.
Definitely. And it's, I mean, what they do there is so impressive. Everybody cool?
Yep.
Do I need a motion?
Move approval of the use of surplus funds from the 5K program to go to the, is it called?
Golden Groves.
Golden Grove Elementary.
And that exact dollar amount,
2014. 2 cents.
Mr. Mayor, I can read the title.
please.
A resolution, City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, approving the donation of surplus funds in the amount of $2,014.02 to Golden Groves Elementary School, provide for conflict, severability, and effective date.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call, Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Excellent. City council comments. Councilwoman Leonard.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I have no comments for the evening. But I wanted to thank our new businesses for coming into the city of Westlake, but they've gone. So just want to, I think that's exciting. Yes, I think that's
Are you feeling
exciting.
better?
I'm feeling better. Yes, thank you.
Councilman Martinez.
Pretty quiet on this end. Also want to thank Minto, Mr. John Carter, for all the work he's doing in Westlake that brings us all these new businesses and ideas. So thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to Fourth Fest coming up next month.
Councilman Werner.
No comments.
Vice Mayor.
I do have a comment in light of Memorial Day just passing, Veterans Day coming. For city staff and for Sid, if we can look at an area, a lot of municipalities hold events on those days where we have, a Florida flag, a US flag, and a monument. We can work with different other places on, Gold Star Families, anything like that with all our branches. Something doesn't have to be like some, huge 20-foot granite,
It's 100%.
but something we can do there.
Absolutely.
And we can actually have an event within the city that people can come and pay tribute.
That sounds great because we want our chambers there, and it would be great if we had a city flag that we can raise half-mast whenever we need to, and
1000%. We need a flag. We need some sort of representation for the.
We don't have a
in the fall. So I think that's just a direction thing, right?
Yes.
Are we all in agreement?
that sounds great.
Yes.
Absolutely. Got that, Ken?
It's in the books.
That's a good one. I will just leave everybody with, get ready for Fourth Fest. It's going to be bigger and better and amazing than ever. And I want to thank all my colleagues for their leadership. And I love the fact that we had so much resident participation today. Thank you all. Staff reports. Who do we want to start with? Mr. City Attorney? Mr. City Manager?
You have fire before you.
Fire? Chief? Chief?
It's the unpolished side of
All right.
us.
Couple chiefs in the building.
Good evening, hello. Sorry I missed last month, but I know Chief Thomas came to give you a report. Happy to be here myself.
You were missed.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So for the month of May, there was only 52 responses to the city of Westlake, and 48% of those were medical calls. We had an average dispatch handling time of 47 seconds, an average turnout time of 43 seconds, average travel time of 4 minutes and 10 seconds, for a total overall average response time of 5 minutes and 39 seconds. So pretty good, pretty consistent there. April 4th, Fire Rescue offered CPR and AED classes in your community of Crestwinds. They did it again, for the ER at Westlake, they held a class there on April 18. And then May 10th, they offered fire safety also in Crestwinds. And then on June 18th, we will be offering a hurricane preparedness little class in Crestwinds also on June 18. And we are also gearing up to assist you all with your Fourth Fest this year. Our reserves will have a medical tent, and we will also have an engine on standby when you do your fireworks display. So we will have a presence here as well.
Awesome.
Okay, any questions?
Just want to say I enjoyed my visit to your fire station.
Oh, good,
Very
I'm
nice.
so glad. Good.
My picture in my jacket.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good.
I see you have your badge covered. Just let staff and the city know we lost a fireman recently due to cancer, and they're having a memorial service in Westlake at Christ Fellowship on Monday. So you see a heavy presence of fire personnel. That's what's going on Monday afternoon.
That's correct. Yes, there will be quite a turnout for that. So a lot of activity and a lot of fire apparatus over at Christ Fellowship on the 10th.
Fantastic. Thank you for all you do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Deputy? Anything from PBSO? Do it.
For the record, Sergeant Gaudreau, PSO.
Thanks, Sergeant.
How you guys doing? Same for the month of May, the sheriff's office self-initiated 1,249 business and residence checks. We self-initiated 112 traffic stops, which 85 of those were written warnings, 29 verbal, and 31 of those citations. You guys received 190 calls for service, none of them any major events. We did have one construction burglar in the orchards. We had one theft in the Winn-Dixie Plaza, and we had one vandalism here to the city of Weston. Other than that, slow district. You guys are really lucky to be here. It's nice. It's quiet. I'm also gearing up for Fourth Fest.
Got your street team for Fourth Fest?
I do, sir. I'll have the street team and then 6 additional deputies. So we'll be ready to go just like last year.
We love everything you do.
Thank you.
For sure.
We hope you throw something more at us.
We hope we don't throw any.
I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you for keeping us safe. Yes, sir. Mr. City Attorney.
Nothing to report, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. City Manager.
Just one thing, in response to Mr. Estes, if it's behind the gate, the iguanas are an issue that the HOAs need to address. If it's on SID property in the rights of way, Seminole Improvement District will address those.
Okay.
And there are trappers slash euthanizers out there that you can contract with.
Is Sid actively doing something to address them currently?
We're working with getting a trapper in, yes.
Okay, so we're, or something, we haven't started.
We have not started yet.
But it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Great.
On the outside of the neighborhood.
Public comments. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to speak. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card should be completed and returned to the city clerk. When you're called to speak, please go to the podium and prior to addressing the council, state your name and address for the record. Do we have any public comments, Madam Clerk?
I received no public comment cards, Mayor.
Yeah. State your name and address for the
Daniel
record.
Hirsch,
Chief
15227 Goldfinch Circle. My only question is about the golf cart path to the school. I know there's been a lot of questions on that, and I know it says, you said, you posted that it's going to be ready
By
next school year.
Beginning of
But
school.
where is it going to exit out? Are we going to be able to drive to actual schools?
No. It'll stop at the circle that's currently there. You'll then have to leave your cart there, walk your child out to the 140th sidewalk and then up and back in.
Will there be parking, or is it just going to be like a,
It's an area where you can pull up and I think there's space for like 8 or 10 carts at a time.
My iPad just died for that.
Okay.
But I'm still here.
so there's no way to do a cut through to actually drive to the school?
No, we already, trust me, we worked through that with the school board.
They wouldn't even give us an
Access points direct through.
We have to spit out onto 140th and then walk. They wouldn't even let us have a gate to the school. We tried.
It's an issue. We've been working on it with them for almost 2 years and this is the best we could come up with at this
All right.
point in time.
It'll work for now. We can hopefully address it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Any other comments from anyone before I adjourn? No? I will adjourn this meeting at 8:12 PM. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great to see you.